Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, they say their daughter is out of control.
She has put holes in the walls, cracked my elbow. I have a big bruise on my back.
Is she just a bratty teen?
What are you feeling?
Anger and hate.
Or is it something else?
Taylor is mentally ill.
You're hitting her with the belt.
I hate you!
Are you punishing an illness?
This is something we have said all along.
Then why are you doing it? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, I want you to take a look at this. It is just a glimpse into the chaos happening behind closed doors at BeVee and her husband Steve's home.
You hit your mother. Oh my God. You broke all the... Please. Call 911. Oh my God.
These parents claim the smallest thing can set their 15-year-old daughter Taylor off. Now, they say that once she is triggered, she becomes enraged and violent, punching holes in the wall and occasionally leaving her mother bruised. Now, while all this is happening, these parents wonder, is Taylor just a bratty teen, or are they doing something wrong?
My 15-year-old daughter is incredibly violent and has many outbursts.
Idiot. Bitch, you will stop.
Our house is in chaos 24/7.
My relationship with Taylor right now is strained because of what's going on. I don't feel like she knows how to deal with her issues.
Taylor is mentally ill. She has bipolar and borderline personality. We noticed the outburst around the age of 10. I started recording 5 years ago because trying to explain to doctors about the outburst, it's really hard to put it into words.
When Taylor's having an outburst, and I feel like she's going to destroy our home or hurt herself, I'll put her in a bear hug.
Listen, do you want more?
Over the last few years, her outbursts have become more intense. As she says some of the most really vile things.
Dad, I hope you die!
Lower your voice.
When she's not having an outburst, she is the most loving, caring daughter. When Taylor's at her worst, she is like a caged animal. She has destroyed things in our home, such as putting holes in the walls, cracked my elbow, hit me a lot. I have a big bruise on my back right now.
She had a full soda can and just started banging it up against her head. She hit herself so hard that the can of soda exploded.
I feel like we're walking through a minefield. Every step we take, is it gonna blow up? My fault because you're saying all this stuff in text.
Can you just shut up?
It's hard to tell whether it's just bratty teenage girl or mental issues.
Taylor's outburst had such a huge effect on my life. I've had to quit my job. Our marriage is in crisis. Right now, we've been holding on by a string.
Me and my wife, BeVee, are totally 100% lost. We have no idea what to do.
Okay. Is that true? You guys are lost. You're out of options. You don't know what to do.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Would it be fair to say that you feel like you're hostages right now in your home?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe your daughter loves you, hates you, resents you, what?
All three. She loves me,
Right.
hates me, and resents me, depending on where we're at, where she's at that moment.
Okay. How about you?
I believe she loves us, but I believe she, doesn't know how to control her anger. It seems to be getting worse.
Okay.
The outbursts are getting worse, but I do believe that she loves us.
And why do you think this is happening?
I really don't know.
We In the beginning, we thought it was because of the medications that was prescribed to her starting at age of 8, which was ADHD medications.
Okay. She has been on, I have a list here, 16 different medications since she was 8 years old.
Yes, sir.
And, I mean, we're talking about Adderall, Concerta, Depakote, Abilify, Seroquel, Zoloft, Xanax, Lexapro. I mean, I could just go on. If they make it, she's pretty much been on it, sometimes multiple at a time.
Yes, sir.
Do you think she's mentally ill?
The diagnosis says it is. From what we've witnessed, I would say yes. It's in her genes.
In her genes how? Your side of the family or your side of the family?
She is my biological niece, but I've had her since birth.
Right. What was her condition at birth?
She didn't hit any of her milestones. There was drugs found in her system that the hospital called CPS.
At birth?
Yes, sir.
So she had to be detoxed at birth?
Yes, sir.
So that has an effect on her brain at the time, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, we saw this outburst earlier in the show, but I want to take a closer look at this. This is an outburst in the hallway. Take a look and tell me what's going on after we look.
Don't hit her. Oh, stop it, Taylor. Oh, stop it.
Why'd you hit your mother?
She's a idiot. Get the
Taylor, you can't have a two-way conversation.
Okay. What's going on there? Why is she's hitting you? You could hear the
Yes, sir.
slap. Why? What was the trigger?
About 10 minutes prior to that, she had her phone in her hand, and I was just asking her, or was going to ask her who she was texting, and I didn't even get the question out of my mouth, and she got upset that I was speaking to her, and so I asked her to hand me her phone. I was going to take her phone from her, and I went into my room to put the phone up, and I heard a lot of commotion in the kitchen and slamming, and my husband saying, "Taylor, don't do it, don't do it." And then we have a huge box of Young Living oils, and they were shattered all over the floor. So I was coming around the corner, and when she saw me is when she went towards me.
Are you afraid that she's going to hurt one of you or herself?
I'm afraid that at least on the onset of most of her outbursts, that she's gonna hurt her mother.
Let's take a closer look at this kitchen incident.
Why are you saying that to me?
Because I hate you and I wish you were dead.
Why can't you just calm down?
Stop.
Taylor, stop!
Shut up. Jesus doesn't do.
Okay, that's pretty typical, right? Tell me what you're thinking and feeling right now.
That she's out of control, that there's nothing that we can do to prevent, to stop it. She has complete control of our home. The things that she says while she's what we call in a rage or in the moment, what she says in those moments is a totally different child than what she is when things are calm.
You were actually spanking her.
I don't think we even spanked her.
You're hitting her with a belt. And later, what are you feeling?
Blind rage. I bundle it up, and when it comes out, I just do it. Don't feel anything but anger and hate.
You hit your mother.
Oh my God.
You broke all the.
Please.
All right, one.
Oh my God!
You have no idea where this is coming from.
Well, some of the triggers she says is because her dad and I argue, and when we argue, that's a trigger. Or when we don't give her 5 minutes after she has had an outburst, if we do not give her a moment to herself, that's a trigger. If we don't let her have her phone, that's a trigger.
Okay, and so my question is, what do you do when she has this kind of an outburst? And a few years ago, here's what happened when BeVee asked her daughter for a bite of chicken.
going to win this one.
Okay, now, at that point, you were actually spanking her.
I don't think we even spanked her, but yeah, I was going.
Well,
to
actually,
go
you
that
did.
route. Did we?
Because you have a belt.
Okay.
And you're hitting her with the belt.
Yeah, tried.
Okay, you what?
Yes, I tried to spank her.
No?
Or okay, I spanked her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not going to show it, but I have it.
Yeah.
You did. What you're doing is not working, right?
No, sir, not at all.
And when you confront the rage with an equal level of intensity, it just ratchets up, right?
That's exactly right.
That's not working.
No, it's not.
And she's getting bigger and she's getting stronger.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, you said something in your first tape piece. You said she is mentally ill.
Yes, sir.
Then I asked you here again, and you said, well, based on the diagnosis, and
Yes,
you
sir.
believe the doctors, why would you go to them if you don't?
Absolutely.
I understand. And she's been diagnosed ADD, borderline personality disorder, PTSD, ADHD, and bipolar. She's been given all those diagnoses.
Yes, sir.
Boy, that is a lot of diagnoses. Mentally ill. Let's break that down. Mentally ill. Mental illness. Ill or illness. Illness means sick. That's disease model, right? That's disease.
Yes, sir.
Name another disease. Diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, cancer, whatever.
Right.
Okay. If she had a brain tumor, that would be a disease,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah.
She had a stroke, disease process, right? Would you pin her down on the floor and beat her with a belt if she had a brain tumor?
No.
And she did not have the diagnosis at
If
that
she
time.
had a stroke and was behaving erratically, would you yell and scream at her and ratchet up?
No.
So you believe that she's ill and you're punishing her for being ill. I don't know whether she is or not. I'm just saying you believe she is and you're punishing her for being ill.
The belt was before the diagnosis. At
No, it wasn't. She was diagnosed at 8.
That was for ADHD.
That's not an illness? Do you get my point?
I get your point.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you punishing an illness?
Absolutely, and that's what we've said all along.
Does that make sense?
No.
Especially over the
But
last.
then why
over
are
the
you
last-
doing it?
Over the last 2 months.
The reason I restrained her that time in the hallway was just she was going back for more. The rest of it is just trying to stop her from, destroying our house. And
hurting herself.
another time was
Well, how's that working for you?
it's not working very well.
Because I don't know that she has a mental illness or not,
Yes, sir.
but I'm saying, think about the logic of what you're doing. If she is it proper to punish an illness?
I understand 100%. This is a conversation that has been brought up at school, at family members, and
But you're
everything else.
continuing to do it.
The holding her so she didn't come back to hit me was the last punishment. But there's been no punishment other than trying to restrain in the last several years.
BeVee and Steve say in just this past week, Taylor has punched holes in the wall, run away, and repeatedly punched her mother in the arms and back. They say they finally had no choice but to call the police on their own daughter.
I could just tell that she was going to start again.
I had my phone in my hand, had already hit record, and was coming around the corner, and as soon as she saw me, she charged at me and hit me.
That's when I put her in a bear hug,
And that's when we called the police.
And later, I ask you a very specific question, and you have responded only defending yourself as a parent.
She's my everything, and I feel like we've tried and done everything.
3 years ago when Taylor was 12, she got upset and threw a bowl of chicken and rice across our living room.
She snapped and started throwing stuff.
Taylor, stop it, please.
Wherever her hands hit, that's what's being destroyed.
I got on top of her on our couch, and but she was still going on and flailing about. I was just on bottom holding her on top, so she just calmed down. And that's all we ever say when I'm holding her is to calm down.
Okay, BeVee and Steve say last week Taylor punched her mother in the back and kicked a hole in the wall. After an attempt by Steve to restrain her with a bear hug failed, BeVee and Steve say they had no choice but to finally get the authorities involved. Take a look.
I've had to call the police twice within 48 hours. The first incident, it started because of the phone. Taylor got upset with something that was going on social media, and I was trying to parent her, and immediately that set her off. She got very angry, enraged, and jumped out of the car. And I'm just begging her to please get in, and it was, I hope someone kills you. We got home. After her hitting me several times, she ran out of the house, and that's when we called the police.
The second time we called the police on Taylor, it was about her phone again.
We were sitting eating dinner, and I saw Taylor on her phone. I was going to ask her a question, and immediately she got defensive. She went to her room, slammed her door, and we could hear her throwing things, so I went to my room.
I was in the kitchen, and she came back out, just kind of flung the refrigerator door open, and I could just tell that she was going to start again. So I said, Taylor, don't do that. Don't, just calm down, and then slam the refrigerator door.
Stop breaking our stuff.
Your stuff? You.
Tipped over the dining room table on the floor, and we have a wooden box full of essential oils that she just threw on the floor, and they went everywhere. And I could hear BeVee hollering, no, no, Taylor, no.
I had my phone in my hand, had already hit record, and was coming around the corner, and as soon as she saw me, she charged at me and hit me many times.
That's when I put her in a bear hug, and we kind of wrestled our way down the hallway until she got loose, and she ran out the door.
Okay, so when this happens, like we were just seeing and talking about, it gets chaotic to the point somebody can get hurt just by accident, right? I mean, when you're running around and trying to get away and stuff, I mean, somebody could just trip, hit their temple on the corner of a table, and then wind up dead or seriously injured, right? So the whole point is it is chaotic and out of control.
Yes, sir.
What would you say if I told you that I believe this doesn't have to be this way and can change dramatically in a short period of time?
I would.
Would you believe that?
We would sure give it a try.
You'd want to believe it.
We
desperately want to believe
You'd
it.
want to believe it, but you'd say,
That's the last thing I want to do is wrestle my daughter.
Right.
I mean,
do you feel like you're failing her?
yeah.
Yeah.
How so? How do you feel about that?
Because I can't help her. You know.
We're at doctors at least twice a month, and the doctors are telling us, do this, do that.
BeVee has done most of the legwork with Taylor just simply because I work all the time. She's home with Taylor. But I went to one of the psychiatrist visits. And, you know, when we walked in, I'm looking for, you know, the couch where, you know, Taylor tells her how she feels and everything else. No, we were in there for less than 10 minutes, and she's already upping a dose of this. And
the couch looks a lot like a prescription pad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say to yourself about failing her?
I don't know.
You've had a big meltdown. You've gotten in a situation. You're pinning her down. You know it's the wrong thing, but you didn't know what else to do. It's all over with. You walk into the other room, you're standing there with your head in your hand. You know you're failing her. What do you say to yourself?
Find an answer. I'm lost. It's got to get better than this.
There's got to be an answer. But to coin what you say all the time, it's above our pay grade.
Taylor is here. She says she's lonely. She does blame her mom for having no friends, no boyfriend. Plus, I brought in some reinforcements here that got some really interesting answers out of Taylor. All that coming up after the break.
How do you discipline a child that has nothing, doesn't go anywhere, doesn't have friends? I feel bad by taking the only things that she does have.
My wife does most of the punishing.
In the past, it made the outbursts go longer and longer. I don't want to discipline a child for something that they can't control.
Closed captioning provided by
Idiot.
I do not have control over my anger outbursts. I've been angry ever since I was maybe around 5, and then around 14, I started getting physical.
Don't! Oh, stop it, Taylor!
I don't have control of what I'm doing. It just feels like a balloon getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I can't stop it. I have hurt my mom and my dad. I am scared that one day I will snap, seriously hurt them. My relationship with my mom is a love-hate relationship. Please don't accuse me of my feelings. When I'm arguing with my mom, sometimes it gets physical, so my dad does restrain me. But that doesn't really help anything. It just makes everything worse.
Well, Taylor says she's been struggling with violent anger episodes ever since she really can remember, since she was 10 years old. So, as I said, I brought in some reinforcements to help. Now, Mike Bayer is a very dear friend of mine, and he is a life coach. He is really experienced. He is really beloved by his clients. Now, Coach Mike focuses on helping his clients break free of destructive patterns. Now, yesterday, I asked him to sit down with Taylor to learn what may be causing her out-of-control anger and see if she perceives that she has any choices that she could change. Let's take a look at that conversation.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm Mike.
Hi.
Taylor?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
They call me Coach Mike. I'm a life coach.
Yeah.
And Dr. Phil wanted us to sit down and talk a little bit. I guess what we could talk about first is just like the anger in the household. How would you describe it?
Crazy. It never stops until it gets physical, like to the point where they have to call the cops.
It seems that your social life and your school are what you believe is really upsetting to you right now.
Right.
And why are you not in school?
I have anger and anxiety outbursts when I tend to go because I don't feel comfortable with like bullying and everything at that school. So I just like get anxiety attacks right when we like drive up to the building. I'll tell her, I can't do it, I'm not gonna go inside, I can't do it, and then it turns into a big fight. So I've missed a lot of school, so we just decided to take me out.
And does part of you regret that?
A lot.
Do you want to have more friends?
I do want to have more friends, actually.
The most tension in your life seems to come from your relationship with your family. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create two characters. It works if we really dig into it and do it. So what I want to first do is understand who is the best version of yourself. You're going to write out the characteristics of when you feel best in life. So let's see what you have so far.
Funny, honest, skate, when I draw, when I talk to people, when I'm outside with friends, when I'm outside in general, and whenever I'm by myself.
And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna name her.
Oh, okay.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that Ashley could not be shaken. Your mom says something to you that would normally trigger you. What would Ashley say if she showed up? Ashley would say, let's work this out. This isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do next is we're gonna create your anti-self, which seems to run the show.
It's Mailer.
Okay, Mailer. Okay.
Because the M stands for mad.
mad.
Mailer only happens when I'm around my mom.
What do you think we need to do to get more of this?
Me and my mom need to agree to talk things out and try to understand where everyone is coming from instead of assuming and just immediately getting pissed off at each other.
What do you want your life to look like?
A bunch of friends. I want a busy schedule. Like, I want to go places. I want to be able to do
Try new
stuff.
things?
Try new things. I want to be able to go eat with friends. I want to be able to go, like, drive around and listen to music with friends and just hang out and do stuff.
We're going to role play. Year from now, 2019. Taylor, so good seeing you. I haven't seen you in about a year.
Hi.
So tell me, what has gone on in this last year?
I have a whole bunch of friends. I'm out doing stuff. Me and my mom aren't arguing anymore. Everything's happy at the house.
I know it seems a little silly.
Yeah.
But it starts to get the brain and the mind to believe it's possible.
Right.
Thanks for sitting with me.
Thank you for letting me draw this out.
For sure.
Well, Taylor, good to meet you.
Me too.
Tell me about your time with Coach Mike yesterday.
It was very helpful. I really liked it a lot. It was really fun and it helped me, and I've been thinking about it a lot.
So what did you learn?
I learned that it doesn't always have to be Mailer. It doesn't always have to be Mailer. It can easily be Ashley all the time.
Right. And what do you think you have to do for it to be Ashley rather than Mailer? What's in your power that can make it that way?
I can always find coping skills to work around my way when Mailer's around and everything like that.
Yeah. What do you think about what you saw on the tape?
She's my everything, and I feel like I've tried and done everything, and I don't want her to think that that I'm trying to upset her or that I'm trying to make her mad. But when I'm trying to, what I call parent, like there's been some really bad choices on her cell phone, and so until that I see that she's able to make some better choices, I'll ask her, who are you talking to, or something on her phone.
Let me stop you. I asked you a very specific question. I said, how do you feel about what you saw on the tape?
Yes, sir.
And you have responded only defending yourself as a parent. How do you feel about what you saw on the tape?
I thought I've never seen her articulate herself in that way. I've never seen her describe how she feels in that way.
How'd you feel about what you saw on the tape?
I felt great about it. I felt really confident about it. I felt like I described my feelings very well.
Did you like talking to Coach Mike?
I did a lot.
Why?
Because he's very easy to talk to and very entertaining.
How did you find Taylor when you sat down and started working with her?
I found you to be kind, very smart, creative, athletic, and that her main challenge was her coping. That just coping when she gets really angry is just, she feels out of control.
Taylor says her explosive outbursts only ever occur with her mom. Is that true, and why is that? What is it about her mother that makes Taylor so angry? Well, I'm going to ask her after the break. We'll be right back. Closed captioning provided by...
My parents' punishments don't mean anything because I don't do anything. I skate, I play Xbox, and I'm on my phone. My parents took away my phone last week, so when they take it away, I'll just sleep. They realize that it's not doing anything or helping any situations out at all with my anger, so they just give it back to me within a week.
Well, BeVee and Steve say their 15-year-old daughter Taylor's violent outbursts have led to her really destroying the house and attacking her mom. But Taylor says her outbursts are mainly triggered by her mother. Now, when we're talking outburst, it's very different than you are right now. For example, a few years ago, there was an encounter. Let's take a quick listen.
I hate you! Get out! Get out! Please! I need time by myself!
Be quiet. You
No!
want to talk about yourself.
No! No!
You're not going to win this one.
When you're going through that, what are you feeling?
Anger. Very much anger, as you could tell.
Yeah.
I don't feel anything but anger and hate.
And what about? Is there anything, or is it just a blind rage?
It's just a blind rage. It's just, I wouldn't say blackout, but I do just go off and do whatever that I feel like I need to do whenever I'm angry, because I feel like I do bundle it up. I bundle it up, and when it comes out, I just do it.
What is it about Mom here that tends to trigger that sometimes?
Just not letting me have my space at all, especially when I ask for it.
I want her to have space, but if she has just slammed her door or thrown her phone, Tay, you can have all the space you want, but I need your phone. Hand me your phone, and then you can take the night off. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But after replacing two phones, I'm just not wanting her to destroy another phone. That was one incident. But for the most part, we have been giving her space, but it's her telling us how it's going to be. We can give her 10 minutes, we can give her 30 minutes, but then when we come back, the problem's never discussed. It's, I still don't want to talk about it. Get out of my room. Yes, sir.
You're fighting about nothing. You're tearing your house up about nothing. You're hitting each other and screaming about nothing. But nobody ever talks about the issue until now. And that's what we're going to do right after the break. Coach Mike, what does she not have that she needs to have to change this dynamic from destructive to constructive?
I think what she needs is to feel like she has control over her own emotions and over what happens when she's starting to get emotional. She's feeling like they're trying to put, the top of the pan handle on there, and it's blowing up. And she just needs her space. She wants to feel listened to. And it doesn't justify her behavior whatsoever. If she's acting out or acting inappropriate, that's not appropriate. But I think clearly it's not working to take her phone away in the middle of a heated argument.
Here's exactly what happens. I'm going to draw something for you that a picture's worth 1,000 words. So let me tell you what happens here. You're in a situation, Taylor, where you're kind of going along here, everything's kind of smooth, and then it starts getting kind of bumpy, and you come to a point in the road, and this point in the road has got to be something that you identify that is your first cue that you're starting to go into meltdown. It's where it's something in your body or it's something in your mind that is the first thing that you can learn to recognize that tells you this is getting ready to go bad. Is there something that you recognize first that you can tell that this anger is starting to well up inside? Do you know what it is?
I fidget a lot.
You what?
I fidget a lot.
And how do you mean fidget? Your hands?
My hands. I like to tap my foot. I just think. I sit on the edge of my bed. I tap.
Okay, so when you do that, you're starting to...
Yes.
Okay, then if that's your first cue, see, everything has... every chain has a first link, okay? So at that point, when you recognize this, I mean, it's gotten really rough, and then this starts. And maybe this is just thinking, or maybe you've heard something in the other room or whatever, But you get here, this is your first cue. That can either be a cue for a meltdown, or it can be a cue for a coping sequence. But this is a choice point for you right here. And at that point, you've got to say, okay, this is my first cue. I can either go down and just get into some kind of a meltdown, or I can start a coping sequence. I can start to cope. And at that point, you have to know what that first step is. And it has to be well learned, and it has to be so automatic. It's what, as I've been a pilot all my life, it's what we call the bold face. Whenever you're in an airplane and something goes wrong, like an engine catches fire, or you run out of gas, or something falls off that's not supposed to fall off, well, nothing's supposed to fall off, something falls off, there's a placard on the instrument panel that's called the bold face. These are the first 6 things you do before you do anything else. Boom, 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 boom. You do these or you die. It's just that simple. That's the bold face. And that's what you have to have, is this coping sequence. So when you hit here, this can be a cue for coping, or it can be a cue for meltdown. And if you had learned that coping skill, just like any other skill, like skating, if you learned that skill really well, would you do it?
Of course.
If you knew if you knew what it was and you knew how to do it, would you do it?
Of course.
Closed captioning provided by Coach Mike was so impressed with you and how open you were to working that we want to get you a life coach that will help you with this. He was so impressed with it, he said he wants to start out being your life coach and work with you himself. He works with the biggest stars in music, film, everywhere, and he says he wants to work with you and get you started learning this coping sequence and headed where you need to go. I've been talking to Dr. Frank Lawless, and Dr. Lawless is the head of the P&P Center, which stands for Psychoneuroplasticity, which is why I call it P&P. And they're not 20 minutes from y'all's house, actually. And Dr. Lawless wants you to come in and do a complete brain workup, because sometimes we can get in a situation where parts of the brain are not as active as other parts of the brain, and you have been on 16 different medications. And listen, I can't diagnose you, but I will tell you, just in my humble opinion, at least 14 of these are inappropriate. So between Coach Mike and Dr. Frank Lawless, you've got the best of the best. And so we want to do that to help you. And I think you two have to have a new coping strategy here as well. And so we're going to coordinate help for you guys that dovetails with what Coach Mike is doing as well, because if she comes up with a whole new sequence and you guys do the same thing, then it's not nearly as helpful as if you're part of that, where you all have a new plan. You've never had anything but the best intentions, but now you're going to have the best tools. And that's what we want to do. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. I don't know if you thought you were going to come in here today and get thrown under the bus or whatever, but that's just not the thing. This is not all about you. This is a family thing.
Exactly.
Are you glad you came?
I'm glad.
Okay.
Very.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Thanks a lot. All right, man. All right. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a very special thanks to Coach Mike and to Dr. Frank Lawless at the P&P Center for offering to help Taylor. Coach Mike is a coach. He's got a whole team of coaches at Cass Center, and I'm going to put the link to that on drphil.com. We'll see you next time.